Welcome back to another episode of My Circle Podcast. Today I have with me Patrick Schoonover with All Phase Electric, and I'm so excited. We're going to talk about things that every homeowner should know about electricity. So please tune in and smash that subscribe button and continue watching. I hope you love this episode. Has you ever gotten zapped?
Oh yeah, many times.
What is one mistake that homeowners make with electricity that can actually be dangerous?
They don't turn something off.
Okay.
See it all the time? Hey, turn that breaker off. Turn that light switch off. You got something plugged in, unplug it. People trying to remove a cord but don't know where it's plugged in, so they take a pair of scissors and they cut the cord. Well, guess what happens? You get zapped. This potentially could lead to a meltdown or fire. Or simplest thing people can do to save electricity, as silly as it sounds.
With the solar panels, you still have to pay the utility company.
If you size your system correctly, you mitigate your power bill completely.
Does the EVs really push that much power to where they're going to blow up a transformer?
If every house has an EV now and they all plug their cars in.
What's the difference between a quick do-it-yourself fix and something people should always call a professional for?
Good example of a quick do-it-yourself fix is...
Well, I'm neither good at math, nor do I want to get electrocuted.
But I was just recently told, like Chugiak Electric here in Anchorage, is now going to start charging for...
Reach out to the professionals. Try not to do it yourself. Cost you your most expensive transaction of maybe your lifetime.
I've never been a great employee. I've always been able to keep a job.
Welcome, Patrick.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jason. Happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited to hear your story.
Thank you.
So real quick before I start, I have to ask, why electricity?
So honestly, electricity, it all began because, like everybody, you need a job. I moved to Alaska, newly married, didn't know anybody, didn't have any connections, and just kind of fell into place. It really started as I met one of my ex-wife now, her cousin. He was an electrician. They had a nice house. They had toys. They had all the things that, as a young adult, you aspire to have.
Yeah.
I said, cool. Maybe I'll look into that. One thing led to another. Got an apprenticeship. Then I really realized that truly what I like about electrical is you're always learning. There's so much different aspects that you can never be an expert in everything.
Yeah.
So sky's the limit. It's up to you. You can continually better yourself or stay the same or stagnant or worse. I hate to say it, but I guess you never stay the same. You either get better or you digress.
Yeah,
so that's how it really started. I needed a job.
Yeah.
And went through my apprenticeship out in Wasilla, Palmer, worked all over, on base, Anchorage, a lot of commercial work. It was really cool. Paid my bills, supported my family.
Amen to that.
So,
has it ever bit you? Has you ever gotten zapped?
Oh yeah, many times.
You're always learning.
Many
right?
times, yeah, yeah. And you can get complacent like anything, but with electricity, you gotta be a little more on top of it because it can be dangerous.
Oh yeah, it's a hard lesson to find out. Sometimes.
Yeah, at times it can be deadly even. So certain things to look for, but really, you can keep it pretty safe if you're mindful,
right?
Yeah,
true. I can see that. What is one mistake that homeowners make with electricity that can actually be dangerous? Like, what's some things that they do?
I think the biggest thing is they don't turn something off.
Okay.
And it's totally cool when a homeowner wants to do their own repairs and fix it. And we see it all the time, and more power to them. But a lot of the times, it's as simple as, hey, turn that breaker off. Turn that light switch off. You got something plugged in, unplug it. I mean, we've heard stories as far as people trying to remove a cord but don't know where it's plugged in, so they take a pair of scissors and they cut the cord.
Oh, wow.
Well, guess what happens? You get zapped.
Yeah. Or in the house. Then.
So you would think a lot of it might be common sense, but maybe not common to everybody.
Yeah.
But the big thing is just, if you're working on something, make sure it's turned off.
Yeah.
I think that is the most common mistake I personally hear about, is just people get complacent and they go to do something, and then me.
I In the real estate world, every time we do a home inspection, you often see the most common is the GFCI plugs, right? And so you always see when the house was built, they don't have the GFCI. Is that something they really have to do, or do they need to keep it to code when it was built? I always hear mixed things.
So that is a great question and a great subject when it comes to real estate repairs.
Yeah.
Um, the GFI protection is what falls under life safety.
Okay.
So it is a necessary item that needs to be fixed when somebody goes to sell their house. So if your house was built in 1980 and you didn't have GFIs in your kitchen or your bathroom, you'd have to put those in. But the rest of the house would fall under the electrical code for 1980.
Okay.
So you're not having to buy all these smart breakers and rewire your whole house just to sell it, because then it wouldn't be affordable for almost anybody to sell anything. So it's a real, that's a good area that there should be a lot more education on.
Yeah.
Because there are items that are life safety. I mean, it prevents very serious shocks or death or any of that.
Right.
But sometimes some of these inspectors also get a little carried away.
Yeah.
So,
are there things that homeowners can do to preserve electricity in their house? Something simple they can do?
the simplest thing people can do to save electricity, as silly as it sounds, is unplug unused appliances.
Okay.
So like a toaster, toaster ovens, any type of appliance that's plugged in, even if it's not running, it's trickling, it's sucking in a little bit of juice.
Okay.
That is the simplest way for people to save money. Now there's smart panels and a whole bunch of other systems that people can invest in where you can program it now with technology and through your phone or your iPad or computer at work. And you can start timing things where I only want it to power out from these times.
Right.
It's all possible now. Yeah. It's just a matter of how much you want to spend.
Yeah. How smart do you want your house to be?
Yep.
Can you share a moment on a job where things didn't go as planned and what you learned from it?
Oh man, I think part of being a contractor, that's just, I would hate to say normal, but that's normal.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's probably the most challenging job you had to do?
I think the most challenging job I've ever had was a big custom home in Big Lake. Okay. And the challenge was, well, one, no engineered plan, so we had to engineer it all, do all the load calculations, make sure it all worked. But the customer themselves, dealing with that customer in particular, was the challenge.
Was the challenge the person.
So, and you know, not everybody jives. Right. Unfortunately, I wish everybody got along. Our world would be a much better place.
Absolutely.
But I think it's more people for me than the technicalities of the job. Yeah. Right.
And that's what I notice about you predominantly. You're very much a people person. I know you take care of our veteran community. You want to talk a little bit about your service to veterans?
Yeah, sure. I mean, part of what I do, why I love what I do, is it gives me the opportunity to give back. And the way I was raised and how I feel about it is the community is how we get to do what we do. The community, like, really what it comes down to, the community pays my bills. Yeah. That's how I live, because they're my customers, right? So when I can give back, I absolutely do. And we do often, and I do heavily. And it's not something we boast or brag about very often. Yeah.
You are very active, and I appreciate that. I love people that are willing to do and not complain. And so I see you everywhere. And so if you guys want to work with someone that's honest and reliable, give All Phase a call, because he's involved with veteran community, kids covered, making sure that people have food, the kids have food. So he's very, very much involved. So thank you for that piece. Recently had a question another person wanted me to ask you before I came over. He was asking about new individuals getting into the electrical work and should they join a union. Is that something that you would recommend or not recommend? What are the pros and cons to that?
Also, great question. Um, I think it really all depends on what aspect of electrical they're trying to pursue. So if you're going to want to go be a lineman and work on the utility lines and be one of those guys that gets called out when everybody's out of power inside trying to stay warm,
Mm-hmm.
that's solely a union job
Okay.
in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you work for the utility companies or another company that does the same stuff, that's all IEBW. They take very good care of their people.
Okay.
There are other electrical contractors that are IABW, but they're the big, huge companies. We are a smaller, more of a mom and pop shop. At our size, it doesn't make much sense to be in the union just because there's not enough dedicated union work for us.
Okay.
That being said, all the apprenticeship programs are pretty much the same, depending on whether you want to go be a lineman or a commercial electrician. The same. I mean, those industries have the same apprenticeship programs.
Okay. It's
So
good you mentioned that. So, for someone brand new to it, fresh out of high school, how can they become an electrician? Where are the local schools? What should they do? Are there internships? Stuff like that.
there's in Alaska 3 ways to go about your apprenticeship. One is IEBW. You go
Okay.
sign up at the union hall. You wait. You take their tests. Hopefully, you can get in and get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Second option is you go and sign up for Associated Builders and Contractors of Alaska. It's called ABC of Alaska.
Okay.
And they do the apprenticeship program for a bunch of electrical contractors like myself, but also tons of different trades: HVAC, plumbing, framing, tons. And so their pool of contractors is huge
Okay.
because they handle all those apprenticeship programs.
Mm-hmm.
The third way is a state, basically a state sponsored apprenticeship program, and it's halfway through AvTech with the schooling,
Mm-hmm.
but everything is in house, done by the employer.
Okay.
There's not too many people I know that are still using that.
Okay.
And I think the reason is I know the reason we use ABC of Alaska is the ease of they handle everything. The only responsibility I have is make sure my apprentices have work and they get paid.
Okay.
Beyond that, ABC handles all the hours, all the tracking. They send us the tests. The apprentices can take their tests in the office after work. But it's much easier and cleaner for us to just
Is
third
that like
party
an
it out.
online training type thing first?
It's all hands on
All hands on.
and
Okay.
book learning.
Okay.
But I would say 90% of what I learned when I went through my apprenticeship
Mm-hmm.
on the job training.
On the job.
So you get paid to learn.
Good. Okay. So there's opportunities for. Is there an age limit or
18 plus.
18 plus? As long as they have high school diploma, they can start working.
Yeah, and even not. If you have your GED and you have the math credits or you're good enough at math, I know for the ABC program, all you got to do is take a test.
Okay.
But you do got to have that diploma or that GED just so they can see that you finished something. You had enough gumption to follow through and finish something.
Okay. Well, I'm neither good at math nor do I want to get electrocuted, so I will not be an electrician. Sorry to say that, but I'm usually open to everything else. How has technology changed the electrical trade over the past 10, 20 years? Has there been major changes? Has AI affected electrical work?
Oh, I'm sure AI has affected electrical work. Beyond like office side of things and scheduling and our scheduling system. That's where we see the changes.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it smoother, makes the customer interaction a lot better, more informative, full circle, just a better product.
Right.
As far as technology in the houses and commercial buildings, absolutely big leaps and strides in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
From energy efficiency to automation to security, data, wireless. Now battery backup is becoming a huge thing. Solar,
Mm-hmm.
all that has gone from pretty basic 20 years ago to almost sky's the limit now.
Yeah. Okay. When did you decide to make the transition to open your own company? When did you do that? And what made you do that?
Oh, I think the decision was officially made right after I got my journeyman card, and I was still working for a guy named Ron Clemens, Clemens Electric.
Okay.
And he was battling cancer and lost the battle with cancer. So we helped his widow close up shop, finish all the jobs, and at that point it was I don't want to go take another job with someone else.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone else, but I've never been a great employee.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been able to keep a job. That's
Yeah.
not an issue,
Right.
but I don't like being told what to do a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was then, and at that time I was working with another guy. I decided to go 50-50 partners with him. So 2015 we opened Renco Electric.
Okay.
And we hit the ground running, we thought. We had all these jobs lined up, and we got the phone call everybody hates in construction come springtime. You got to wait a little bit longer. We're not quite ready.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of work lined up, and we planned around this.
Mm-hmm.
So we officially opened April 1st, 2015 as a non-April Fool's joke. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I had 2 weeks of not doing anything. Well, it turns out, at the same time, the Sockeye fire happened in Willow. And I don't know if you remember that, but that was pretty devastating for a lot of people up there. A lot of people's houses burnt down. And so I was sitting around and I just had this epiphany. And I think it was a radio announcement or something. I heard something. People were helping people. I said, I'm all about that. So I got a hold of this lady who lives in Texas now. And she connected me with other people. And I said, hey, I want to show up and put out power pedestals with meters. So when MEA comes, because MEA said, oh, if you can get a meter up, we'll come rehook you up for free.
Oh, wow.
That way, at least you have power back on your lot.
Yeah.
Since you just lost everything,
Right.
we're going to help you guys out.
Yeah.
So they were the first utility company up there putting new power poles in, putting new transformers in, really doing an awesome job to help that community.
Right.
So we followed behind them. And I ended up putting 13 pedestals and meters in, put pro bono free just so people could have power. Yeah. It was basically, hey, just refer us or keep us in mind when you build your house. And I gotta say, man, that was probably the best decision I probably ever made to start helping the community here, because it led to so much more. Absolutely. It led to amazing friendships. It led to just relationships, in general. But it led to meeting people. I came from Washington State, always thought the Iditarod was cool, never knew nothing about it. Now I'm meeting legends, Martin Boozer tracked me down one day because he thought I was out scoping places trying to rob people. I'm like, no, bro, I'm just the electrician. Yeah. Turns out he's a super cool dude. Spent a good amount of time, get to know DG Genre, people like that help those mushers so much. Yeah. It's amazing. But beyond that, one of these guys I helped, he ended up coming to work for me for a while. Did his apprenticeship. We sponsored him to run the Iditarod in 2017. So I got to go to Nome to watch him finish the Iditarod. I mean, it's brought so many cool things. And it's still, to this day, I still talk to some of those people out there. And it all started just because we got postponed. And instead of sitting around, let's go do something good for people.
You
right?
followed your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, Les Brown says, when your heart and mind is at odds, always follow your heart. So I'm glad you did.
100% of the time. Because every time I don't, it really bites me in the butt.
Yeah, you live with regret and you don't know what's possible. So you got a lot of good out of it by taking a chance on yourself.
Yep. And so that's snowballed into really every chance we get, we will help if we can. Good. I mean, that's, we've done a lot for Battle Dogs when they first started. Now that he's pretty big time, I still hear from him, but we don't help them much, right? We do a ton for Alaska Healing Hearts. So we will always do a ton for him, just because their program is so phenomenal, and he just does amazing things for people, right? And those are the organizations we need, right? You know, you mentioned Kids Cupboard. I've sat on the board for Kids Cupboard for the last 4 years, and again, that started with they got this new property, 43 acres in Wasilla for their headquarters. Amazing facility. If you haven't gone to see it, if anybody wants to go see it, you can always go take a tour.
I have not seen it.
It's amazing. Well, we converted an old detached gym, huge full-size basketball gym, into a commercial kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Well, that was COVID hit, right? Same time frame.
Yeah.
And they were having a hard time finding contractors. So I said, dude, I will GC it for free, and then we'll do all the electrical for cost. And so we did. And it, again, turned into meeting a whole bunch of amazing new people. And I still am on the board. I'm now the vice president of the Kids Cupboard Board, which is an awesome organization. All they do is feed kids.
Absolutely.
Sole purpose, right? So super cool to see and be a part of. And I kind of more like behind the scenes there, but sometimes that's where I would rather be, right?
Yeah, they do a lot. I remember when I think when YMCA lost their funds and they didn't have food anymore, I thought Kids Cupboard stepped up immediately, didn't they?
A lot of times, yes, they have. A lot of organizations. And we're working now to partner with a lot more children's organizations that do different things, right? Like I currently also sit now on the board of the Children's Place.
Children's Place. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so the Children's Place, if you're not familiar with them, Child Advocacy Center, they deal with the kids that should never have to deal with the crap they're going through in their lives. And I'm talking sexual assault, sexual abuse, ugly, ugly stuff that's in our community daily. And nobody likes to talk about it, unfortunately, because it's ugly, right? The only way to stop that kind of stuff is to talk about it.
Yeah, I recently learned about ACEs at the last episode, and then I started looking into that. And yeah, I can relate. I think I was a 9 out of 10 on the ACEs quiz. So yeah, I can definitely relate. So thank you for what you're doing with Kids Cupboard and Children's Place. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's I feel like, you know, I could be involved in a lot more places, but again, I follow my heart, right? And my heart always revolves around kids or veterans. And I'm not a veteran. I always get labeled as one. Maybe it's my actions or just the fact that I get surrounded by them quite often. I employ quite a few of them. I always end up around all of them. They're more my people than non, you know. And that was just not a life path I went down. I came close, and then my life went hard right instead.
So talk to me about your motorcycle club, because you also have that, right?
Yes.
And a lot of veterans are a part of that as well.
Yes, so I am also part of the Iron Vikings Motorcycle Club.
Okay.
We're a law-abiding motorcycle club, and really we just love to ride, the camaraderie, family. But the main purpose is to also give back to our community, right? So we have done chili cook-offs, bear and blanket drives. This next event we're doing is actually this Saturday. It's a safety and awareness carnival for kids, totally free hot dogs, free face painting. We're going to have live music. The lead singer from H3 is coming out to sing for us. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, where is this going to be at?
This is going to be at the Liberty Center, Karma Cafe, Liberty Center.
Okay.
We're taking over the whole parking lot.
Nice.
I got the fire department coming. I got the Iron Dog champions this year coming. I got Bright Minds Book Club, or is it Bright Minds? She gives free books to kids.
Okay.
It's an awesome program. Kids Cupboard will be there handing out the hot dogs. The Children's Place ladies will be doing the face painting.
What time is it?
Noon to 4, Saturday.
Okay. I think I want a hot dog.
You do.
I can eat a hot dog.
You do.
Okay.
Life Med's coming.
Yeah.
Supposedly they're even landing the helicopter.
Oh,
which is pretty cool for a community carnival, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen another motorcycle club pull that one off. So
Where were they parked?
I cleared out an area to the
Did
right.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's a lot
They park in a
they can
bowling
land.
alley across the street.
No, that's too far away. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, and all this stuff we do for the motorcycle club, we try to make it family friendly.
Mhm.
We try to make it fun, and we try to focus on organizations that really need the help, right? And it's kids or veterans.
Yeah.
Those are the two we hit, and we hit them hard.
Yeah.
The Barren Blanket Drive we did in December, I think we came up with 55 stuffed animals, brand new,
Mhm.
and 53 brand new blankets.
Wow.
And all those went to the children's place because every time a kid comes in there, they give them a bear and a blanket.
Good.
Because sometimes they come in there with nothing.
Might need to donate some books over there. Good.
The chili cook-off we did, that was for Alaska Healing Hearts, specifically the Operation Winter Warrior Project,
Okay.
which is an awesome program they do all winter long that provides firewood, heating oil, snow plowing services, all to senior veterans that they just can't do it anymore.
Right.
As much as their mind says, I'm going to go do this, their body's broken.
Yeah, and a lot are afraid to ask. We deal with that a lot with
100%.
VA rep, they don't want to ask for help. And so it's
That's
good that you have.
Another great one. We help VA rep, and it's
Right.
more behind the scenes. When we have funds, I just donate, or we
Good.
get tables, or we go to auctions,
Right.
or MJ calls. I'm like, hey, I need this. No problem. We got you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's what it's all about. Because without the community, I wouldn't have a job. I'd be working for someone else, probably miserable.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what I love most about Alaska, right? The people care about each other, and I see that more so in Wasilla area and the Matsu Valley. It's just that connection with people. People care. Um, Sometimes in a big city, it's the hustle and bustle. So I love that small town feel of Wasilla. So thank you for what you're doing with that. Let me ask a couple more electrical questions. Um, for someone buying a home, what are the top electrical things that they should look for during an inspection? We already talked about the GFCI.
so great question. And I think it's really all dependent on the era of home. If it's a newer home, most of these newer homes all get inspected now, so they're pretty up to snuff.
Right.
Not much to look for, minus maybe not having as much stuff as you need. When I say that, like your code minimum, fun fact, code minimum requirements for a garage, one receptacle.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get into these cheaperly built homes, or a home where somebody didn't want to afford the extras, and someone else buys it, and now they're like, hey, I only got one receptacle in my garage. How am I going to plug my freezer in? How am I going to plug this in? And now they got to spend thousands of dollars to add all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Older homes, and I'll say specifically probably 1985 and older, some of the older style electrical panels are now fire hazards. So that's a big one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Most of the home inspectors know which ones, though. That's Push-O-Matic and Zinsco are the big ones up here in Alaska. We have taken out a ton of Push-O-Matic panels, even today still.
Yeah.
Last summer, I think we ripped 6 out of one of the lodges in Talkeetna and replaced them all finally.
I learned recently, I think MEA came to one of our realtor BBR board meetings, and they were mentioning with the EVs that before you install the outlet for the electronic vehicles, they're supposed to notify the electric company first, because if there's a surge to the generator, they're responsible for that cost. So is that something you guys coordinate for the buyers? Are you seeing a lot of EV installs?
We are seeing a lot more EV charger installs.
Okay.
And we've done quite a few of the normal 50 amp, standard 50 amp, 60 amp, 240 volt chargers. We have done a couple of the super dealership style fast chargers for some people.
Yeah.
Yes, you do need to notify MEA.
Okay.
As far as I know, there are 2 instances now where you absolutely need to notify MEA. 3. Sorry. Otherwise, yes, if you blow up their transformer, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
The first being cannabis shops. If
Mhm.
you run a cannabis shop, uh, you got to let them know.
Okay. So is
This,
that common though? Does the EVs really push that much power to where they're going to blow up a transformer?
I don't think an individual EV would,
Uh-huh.
but unfortunately, you got 4 to 6 houses sometimes running off one single transformer.
Okay.
So if every house has an EV now and they
Mhm.
all plug their cars in, then yeah, that's going to overload that transformer.
Oh wow.
So the potential's there, and MEA really just asks because they need to know if they want to go, if they need to go upsize their transformer.
Right.
If people call in and say, "Hey, we're installing an EV charger this size,"
Yeah.
they'll do their math and they'll go, "Okay, it's good."
Yeah.
If it's not, they'll do their math and go, "Oh crap, we got to schedule a work order and get somebody out there." They'll go upsize the transformer at no cost to anybody,
Yeah. Okay.
as long as they know, right?
Yeah.
So they're willing to take care of their customers
Yeah.
as long as they're informed.
Yeah. But just be cautious before you go buy that new Tesla. Call the electric company before you
Yeah, and
install that outlet.
here's another thing to keep in mind, and I just heard this, and I don't know if it's totally true because I haven't done all the research, but I
Mhm.
was just recently told, like Chugiak Electric here in Anchorage,
Mhm.
is now going to start charging for peak hours,
Oh
which
wow.
means during the day when most people are using power, they're going to be charging more per kilowatt hour than they will during the nighttime when everybody's sleeping and
Oh wow.
all the power is off.
Is it a power grid issue?
Um, honestly, I think it's the governor made a claim that we are going to go net metering for all the solar, which is
Mhm.
great for everybody that has solar, right?
Sure.
That means you get paid back finally what you get charged for electricity,
Okay.
which right now it is way upside down for the consumer.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you had solar panels on your house and you paid 32 cents a kilowatt hour to MEA, they would pay you 7 cents back if you were overproducing and pumping it back.
So is solar a good investment here in Alaska? You talking about 4 or 5 months of
I think
summer?
yes and no. Yes, because if you size your system correctly,
Mhm.
you mitigate your power bill completely.
Okay.
So now you're not paying a utility company. You got to pay off your panels. So you do the math. How many years of not paying the utility company does it
Yeah.
take to pay for my system? And then if it produces beyond that many years, now you're ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because you may know more than I do. So I heard that with the solar panels too, because we don't have a way to um, harness the energy that we're saving, you still have to pay the utility company a monthly fee for them to save the power or whatever it's called,
So yes and no.
like a power bank. I don't know what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depends on the utility company up
Yeah.
here. They're always going to hit you with fees no matter
Right.
what, even if you're not using electricity. I
Yeah.
mean, you could have a meter on a building and have it turned off, and they're
Mhm.
going to charge you $10 just to have that
Just to
meter.
have the meter.
Uh, but now, now that you mention that, a lot of people with solar are now investing in battery banks
Okay.
because now, when you overproduce, you can
You can harness
now
it.
harness that
Right.
power, and then when the power goes out, you lose utility power. Now you're running off your batteries. So
Got
whether or not your solar panels are working, you're running off battery
Got it.
power. So you're not starting a generator. You're not
Okay.
doing any of that anymore.
Right.
So
That
pretty
makes
cool
sense.
technology.
Yeah. Okay. Something to think about. Um, what are some warning signs in a home that people should never ignore when it comes to electricity?
Oh, the big one is if you smell or see smoke. I mean,
Mhm.
if you see smoke out of your outlet, definitely don't ignore that.
Yeah.
If you hear crackling and popping noises, that's something that you don't want to ignore.
Yeah.
Uh, electrical fire, electrical smoke has a very different, unique smell to it. Some people say it smells like rotten fish.
Okay.
It's not like a campfire smell.
Okay.
So you'll know.
Yeah.
And the big thing is if you get that, the safest thing to do is go turn everything off.
Yeah.
Whether that's going to the main breaker outside and just turning it off, or if you know in your breaker panel what's running what, then you can just go turn all your breakers off.
Okay. What if an outlet's just not working, right? And the reset buttons aren't working? Is that something they should worry about?
Um, yes and no. I mean, yes, because they got a non-working outlet. It's an inconvenience.
Okay.
Depending on the era of home again, it could create farther problems because
Okay.
in an older home they did what they call as the daisy chain.
Mm-hmm.
So they go from one outlet to another outlet and they use the outlet as a pass through.
Okay.
So if one outlet dies and burns up, anything that passes through now doesn't also work.
Okay.
So sometimes they can get a little tricky to find and troubleshoot
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But it's not a huge, usually not a huge safety
So it
hazard.
doesn't mean your house is going to burn down because there's a line fried behind the wall or something crazy?
Usually not, no.
Okay. Okay. It's good to know. What's the difference between a quick do-it-yourself fix and something people should always call a professional for?
Oh, I think a good example of a quick do-it-yourself fix is a lot of people are capable of putting their own light fixtures in.
Mm-hmm.
Taking an old one down, putting a new one up. That's
Right.
a pretty quick, easy fix.
Yeah.
Easy upgrade. Big thing is turn your power off.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it off at the switch. Turn it off at the breaker. That way, it mitigates the chance to get shocked.
Yeah.
Something I would say hire a professional for: panel upgrades,
Mm-hmm.
hot tub power, generator backup systems, bigger stuff like that.
Yeah. The transfer switches and whatnot.
Yep. And I only say that because typically what we see when a homeowner does it is the main thing is all the wires are not sized correctly. They're usually all undersized, which potentially could lead to a meltdown or fire or hazard later on.
Yeah.
That's the big thing,
Yeah.
There's just the knowledge is not there. So
Okay. And yet the fires, right? Electrical fires, not every fire extinguisher works on electrical fire, right? So you need an ABCD fire
correct.
extinguisher, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So make sure they have one specific for that in their house. What is the most challenging or interesting project that you ever worked on?
Oh, I'll highlight 3 if I could.
Yeah.
Because they were all interesting and challenging. The first is we redid the fire alarm system in Hangar 9 on J-Bar.
Okay.
That was super awesome. Just because the logistics of getting into the ceiling of that hangar at 60 feet at the peak
Mm-hmm.
was challenging.
Yeah.
But also to see it fill with foam at the end was so awesome.
Did you trip that?
No, I didn't get to, but I got to be on a man lift inside to actually watch it happen.
Oh, wow.
So it was sweet. And then, when we went back to finish a couple of things, the guys let us climb through the Black Hawks and see everything, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
The second one would probably be that house on Big Lake, a super custom home. The guy built a commercial building as his house.
Yeah.
And he built it as a museum, right? So dual 510 AC units that run different sections of the house,
Yeah.
humidifiers, big, huge systems, because the stuff he houses in there is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's museum grade. So,
Right.
But that one was cool because of the technicality to it. And I think the challenge, because it was a steel building, so
Okay.
you could only run wires in so many ways to get around all the steel.
Right.
The third one would have been the kids' cupboard kitchen.
Okay.
And I think that was so cool and impactful because of one, it was for kids' cupboard, and I've seen what they do there now,
Mm-hmm.
and it just made the capabilities for them so much greater. But it was just a fun project, and it's not every day that I get to play GC.
Yeah.
Usually I'm just a subcontractor, which I like to be.
Yeah.
It's a lot less headache, right?
Yeah.
But just to be able to work hand in hand with Kids Cupboard and some of the other contractors who are also willing to give some of their time,
Right.
It was really cool.
You said you converted a gym into a commercial kitchen.
Yeah, so it was a full-size basketball gym. And we turned it in. Half of it is a now full-size commercial kitchen with a ton of prep space, and the other half is food storage with walk-in freezer and fridges.
Wow. So how many meals would you say they produce per day?
Oh, that's a really good question, and I should know the answer to this. Hundreds.
Hundreds per day.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. Um, is there anything you want to say to our community about electrical? A last minute pitch, even about your nonprofit, the volunteer works, kids cupboards, um, children's place, or any last minute things that you want to say about those programs?
I mean, I think in general, follow your heart, follow your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
That'll take you greater places than anything else.
Yeah.
That's what I've personally found is when I do what my brain says, it always goes wrong.
Yeah.
It always costs me dearly.
Yeah.
So whether it comes to work, your passions, giving back to the community, just follow your heart.
Yeah.
That's the big thing,
Yeah.
because it leads into such greater things.
Right. Amen to that. Well, I do appreciate you spending time with us today. Please support All Phase Electric. If you need anything electrical work done, if you need those GFCIs changed out, reach out to the professionals. Try not to do it yourself. I hate for you to make a mistake and cost you your most expensive transaction of maybe your lifetime. So support All Phase Electric if you need something electrical done. Thank you, Patrick. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.